We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Thursday, May 21st here in Seoul. I'm Isujin, and this is News Generation. And joining us today is Luan.
Good to be here.
Good to have you. Also, we have June
Happy
today, Thursday, and both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So we're already in the second to last week of the month, and believe it or not, it's Thursday again. But this isn't just any ordinary Thursday. Today in Korea, it's Married Couples Day, a day to celebrate love, marriage, and life as partners. And since both of our panelists today are married, I want to start out by asking, so looking back, June, what was your wedding day like?
Well, today's my day, married couple days. Well, I did my wedding ceremony at my school campus in my school, where there is like 3 to 4 venues, different venues that students and also graduates can book to have their wedding ceremonies. Well, it's such a competitive venue, so I've got to make a reservation a year earlier, and also I prepared sidume, which is studio, dress, and makeup, also ages ago beforehand. Well, in Korea, guests usually give money called wedding gift money, which is known as 축의금 in Korean. This is to congratulate the couple and support the cost of wedding. Well, the thing is, my father, he originally planned not to receive any money, any 축의금 from the guest, but you know, marriage is not a one-man show. You've got to agree on certain things all together, so this does not happen. And we had a traditional Korean ceremony as well, also known as pebe. I'll show you the pictures later on during my Korean weddings. Yes, this is pebe, Korean traditional ritual ceremony. Well, I had to catch my dates and chestnuts thrown by my in-laws. I even got a piggyback from my hubby as well. Well, first of all, I didn't want to do the pebek ceremony because I've got to add a lot of money on it, but my mother-in-law, she insisted. So now looking back, I do believe that it has its own charm as well and good memories as well. And my wedding itself was rather unconventional than, it was quite fun indeed. Well, one of my friends, he wore some sparkling outfit. He walked down the aisle singing songs, and the whole bunch of dancers appeared as well.
Wow.
And then it was my turn. Bride and groom had to join as well, and also I didn't know that my mother-in-law was part of the dance team, but she came up on the stage as well. Kind of fun party as well. It was not a formal wedding ceremony. I had a very casual and a party-style wedding for me. Well, it was such a fun. So at least nobody said it was boring. That's for sure.
I mean, that does not sound like it's like a perfect mixture of like an unconventional wedding, but also traditional, because you had that pebek experience. That sounds a lot of fun.
Indeed.
So what about you, Luan?
I would have loved to keep talking about wedding ceremonies and stuff, but even though I am married, I did not and will not have a marriage ceremony, I think at least. I don't know why, I don't have that dream of fantasy about like the wedding ceremony. I only kind of see the negative aspect of it, like the stress, the fight, and so on. I'm really scared of it. And so me and my husband firmly believe that we don't need that stuff to prove our love and to show how much we love each other. But we still want to like kind of celebrate our union with like the wedding pictures, and we will do it, I think, in fact, in August this year. So I'm quite excited.
And these days the photos come out so nice. They're different, like there's vintage photos as well, so they all come out really nice as well. So in the end, there's no single right way to celebrate love. What matters most is choosing something that feels meaningful to both you and your partner. So we're going to talk more about this, but first, let's take a look at the screen. In Korea, May is often called the month of family, with special days dedicated to parents, children, teachers, and today, married couples. And Married Couples Day, observed on May 21st, is a time to celebrate marriage and the bond between spouses. For some, it is a chance to reflect on years of partnership. For others, it brings back memories of a wedding day that may have cost far more than they originally planned. Today on News Generation, we take a closer look at how wedding culture in Korea is changing, how rising costs are reshaping the way people tie the knot, and how perceptions of marriage itself are being transformed. As you just saw in the video, the Korean wedding scene is evolving as more couples choose celebrations that feel personal rather than predictable. In other words, weddings are becoming less about following a set formula and more about reflecting the couple's own values and style. So, how are Korean weddings then breaking away from tradition, Jian?
Well, in Korea, there is a term known as factory style wedding. This is still common in Korea. Well, why is it factory? Because it looks like a factory running on a tight schedule, like an assembly line, and the weddings are proceed one after another, and almost like a products on a factory line. A single wedding hall can actually host several ceremonies in one day, sometimes only an hour apart. So couples have to rush. They have to move very quickly from the ceremony to photo sessions and then to greetings and dining to the guests as well. I actually experienced it myself. My wedding was in the afternoon, and after my one, right after I finished my ones, another bride and groom was actually waiting outside. I felt sorry, am I late for this? So it was kind of a roller coaster ride indeed. And sometimes you even see some couples sharing the same lobby and restaurants together because of the time limitation in the factory style weddings. But younger generations, the Gen Z Koreans, they want something new. They want more creative ceremony for them as well. So they prefer some small weddings. No weddings and ceremonies that have some dances like me, and also performances that reflect their values and their thoughts as well. For example, one of my friends, she is going to China not soon this year, and she's going to have a wedding at Hanok, Korean traditional house, with only 30 guests invited.
Wow, that's a very intimate ceremony.
That's indeed very small wedding. And also my brother, when he got married, instead of having a formal officiant, both sets of parents, the fathers actually came out on the stage and they read messages, delivered a heartfelt letter to their son and daughter. It was such a lovely experience indeed. Well, it felt far more personal and down to earth. Right, well, and Gen Z couples are becoming far more creative. Some skip traditional parts, and while others add dances, performances, and personalized dances and vows to reflect their personalities and values as well. And so these days, couples are not planning their weddings, they are actually curating their experiences on it. So it's a totally different kettle of fish compared to older generations.
I kind of get that sentiment though, because seeing my friends get married in the States, obviously in the States it's like a whole day for it to start off, and it seems really
parties.
Right, and dances like the one you had, but then it looks so much fun, so I can see why people kind of want to incorporate those elements into Korean weddings as well. And this really shows how today's couples are really redefining what a meaningful wedding looks like. And this shift isn't just about saving money, it's about questioning which traditions still matter and which ones no longer feel as important to them. So then what are some of the most, I guess, unconventional wedding trends today, Lauren?
So yeah, one important trend is the rise of highly personalized wedding.
Right.
Couples often choose meaningful locations, write their own vows, or organize small micro weddings with only close friends and family, like the friend of Jihan. In France, this diversity in modern marriage is even visible in popular culture through a TV show where brides attend and judge each other's weddings according to a specific theme chosen by the bride. The program shows how different weddings can be today, from romantic vintage ceremonies to extravagant and cultural themed celebrations. Another unconventional trend is the use of artistic alternatives to classic wedding photography. On social media, many couples now hire a live painter who paints the ceremony in real time instead of relying only on pictures. And if I change my mind and I want to have a wedding ceremony, I think I will go with that option of the live.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah. Also, wedding fashion is changing a lot. Traditional white dresses and black tuxedos are no longer the only option. Many brides now wear colorful dresses and also suits, while grooms experiment with velvet jackets, embroidery, or bright-colored suits. These choices emphasize individuality and self-expression. Some couples also completely reinvent wedding traditions. For example, some organize multi-day open house weddings where guests can come and go freely over several days instead of attending one formal ceremony. Others replace traditional diamond engagement rings with matching tattoos as a symbol of commitment. These choices show how modern couples are creating weddings that better reflect their personalities and values.
And that's such an interesting example of how marriage customs are really changing around the world. And as weddings become more personalized, attitudes toward marriage itself are changing as well. And to get a more personal perspective on this, we're going to talk to someone who had a smaller sized wedding here in Korea. And that conversation will take place right after break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out Channel Arirang News. Click Posts and cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Kun Lee, who got married in 2023 in a smaller venue. So hello, thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Hello. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to have you on. So what led you to choose to have a smaller wedding, and how did you go about planning it?
My partner and I chose to have a smaller wedding because we wanted the day to feel personal and meaningful rather than just a large formal event. We're both fairly introverted, so honestly, we didn't really want a huge wedding with hundreds of guests. We preferred a calmer and more intimate atmosphere where we could genuinely spend time with the people closest to us.
Yeah, it feels so much personal when it's smaller, right? What are the pros and cons of non-traditional weddings?
I think one of the biggest advantage is freedom and authenticity. Couples can focus on what genuinely matters to them instead of simply following social expectations or traditions. Smaller weddings also tend to feel more intimate and emotionally meaningful because you are surrounded mainly by people you truly know well. Another advantage is that couples can spend less energy trying to impress others and focus more on their future life together. At the same time, there are some challenges. In Korea, especially, weddings still involve strong family expectations and social customs. So parents or relatives may sometimes feel disappointed if the wedding is too different from their tradition.
I see, lovely, Khan. Well, then what would you recommend to couples preparing for their big day? Any words of wisdom for couples?
The recommendations?
Yeah, or advice that you can give to the newlyweds?
Oh, yes. My biggest advice would be to remember that the wedding is only one day, but marriage is a long-term partnership. It's easy to feel pressure from trends and social expectations or other people's opinions, but I think couples should first think carefully about what kind of experience would genuinely make them happy and comfortable. And I also think communication is extremely important, not only between the couple, but also with their families.
I think that's good advice for both the wedding day and also marriage itself. Communication with everyone in the families is probably very important. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your insights with us today, Gon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we just spoke with someone who had a more intimate ceremony, how he prepared for it, the pros and cons of breaking away from tradition, and his tips for couples planning their big day. And one of the biggest concerns facing couples who want to have weddings is obviously the rising cost of getting married, and it's also pushing couples to think outside the box. But so how expensive is the average wedding in Korea today, Jian?
Well, it's time to talk about money now. Well, in fact, during the pandemic, the weddings did not happen during that time. The many wedding venues shut down, and also the cost of wedding have risen sharply. According to the Korea Consumer Agency, the average wedding ceremony comes to around 21 million won, or roughly $14,000 all across the country, and that doesn't include honeymoon and housing at all. In Gangnam district or in Seoul, reports say the average can reach 36 million won, or roughly $24,000. So naturally, many young adults, couples are looking for wedding options that are both meaningful and more affordable at the same time. So one popular program in Seoul is Seoul's 더 아름다운 결혼식, or Seoul Wedding Support Program run by the Seoul Metropolitan Government. It was created to ease the intense competition for wedding venues and encourage more meaningful and personalized weddings for the newlyweds. The program offers a wide range of public venues. We're going to see the photos later on. So instead of expensive luxury wedding halls, couples can choose places that reflect their personalities and values as well. And I do believe that that's why it's becoming increasingly popular these days. The number of users had steadily increased from just 75 couples back in 2023, but now 500 this year, this February. So less copy and paste, but now more, this feels like us weddings now.
And I see the footage, I can see why it's becoming so popular. I heard actually now it's almost really hard to get the venue on the date you want, so you can really see how popular it is. And that also explains why more couples are looking for ways to cut costs without sacrificing meaning. And for many, that means turning to these public programs and make weddings a lot more affordable. So what support does Seoul then offer for budget-conscious couples, Lon?
Yeah, so for budget-conscious people, Seoul actually offers a very interesting wedding support program called Seoul My Wedding. The city created this project to reduce the financial burden of marriage and encourage more meaningful and personalized weddings. Through this program, couples can use public wedding venues across Seoul, and in many cases, the venue rental is completely free for eligible couples. Seoul also provides financial support of up to 1 million won to help cover wedding equipment and preparation costs. The program is available not only for Seoul residents, but also for people who work for study in Seoul. That is especially interesting is that the city promotes meaningful weddings rather than extravagant luxury ceremonies. Some supported weddings are even eco-friendly outdoor weddings that reduce waste and encourage reusable decoration and public transportation. I think this support reflects a bigger social change in Korea, where many young couples are looking for more affordable, intimate, and personalized weddings instead of very expensive traditional ceremonies.
Well, it does sound like an incredible deal, especially considering how beautiful some of those venues are. And the best part is that affordable doesn't mean compromising on the atmosphere. So then what kinds of venues are specifically available through this program, Gina?
Well, quite frankly, I was quite surprised to see those venues, the public venues. They were so stunning and gorgeous, and they are absolutely free. The public venues, some of them are free. And couples can choose from a wide range of options, including Korean traditional houses or Hano, parks, university campuses, cultural spaces, and even Hangang River locations. They are rooftop wedding venues overlooking the river, forest-style gardens, and even floating stages by Hangang River. Think about your wedding, your guest, and also you have the view of the river itself. And personally, the floating area, the floating stage at Yeouido Hangang Park really caught my eye indeed. No longer typical wedding halls, it's a whole new ball game. So looking at those photos, checking the website, my wedding pictures look like kind of an old-fashioned now. So if I have the chance, I don't think I have the opportunity, but I would like to tie the knot once again if I do have the chance, yes.
Lon, we're seeing all these like beautiful footage. I know you said earlier that you're not really thinking of having a wedding, but if you were, is there anything that caught your eye?
I think maybe because I'm foreigner, but the Hanok style,
Those are quite nice.
I really like
right?
it. We can like mix traditional and modern, wedding styles. So I really like that one.
Okay, so maybe you can like look that up.
Maybe, yeah.
The application.
So these photos are anything to go by. They're stunning enough to make anyone want to get married all over again, and it shows that with the right support, a dream wedding doesn't have to come with a sky-high price tag. So we also wanted to hear directly from our viewers. So we ran a poll on the Arirang News YouTube channel asking which type of Seoul public wedding venue they would prefer. And here's what the results showed. So the most popular choice was a traditional Hanok venue selected by 42% of the respondents, and parks such as Seoul Forest and Lawn Plazas came in second at 21%, followed by venues along the Han River at 19%. Indoor halls were the least preferred option, chosen by 18% of the respondents. So changing wedding styles are just one part of the story. Attitudes toward marriage itself are also shifting as Well, so are young Koreans becoming more open to marriage again? I know you're also in school right now, so
Yeah.
I'm sure you talk to your friends, or your friends talk to you about this.
They talk indeed like often about this, like they want to get married again and all. Even though not that a long time ago, like young people in their 20s and 30s were really hesitant about it. Recent surveys actually shows that marriage intention has been going up for 2 years in a row, and even young women who were usually the most skeptical are now a bit more open to the idea than before. I hear it almost, I think, every day from my Korean friend.
Wow,
yeah.
okay.
But it doesn't mean people suddenly want traditional marriage again. From several articles I've read, many young people still worry a lot about things like housing prices, job stability, and the overall cost of weddings and raising kids. So marriage still feels like a big decision.
Right. I mean, that's still a noticeable turnaround, especially among young women who are once more skeptical. And it suggests that marriage itself is being viewed as less as an obligation, more as a practical partnership in certain areas. But why does marriage appeal to more young people today, Jihyun?
Well, I do believe that the perception of marriage changed a lot among the younger generation, the Gen Z. In the past, marriage in Korea was sort of a union. You've got to bond with the family, involving in a huge family between two families, and almost like a social expectation. But for many younger Koreans these days, marriage feels more like emotional and financial partnership, almost like a long-term team project, and the wedding is their presentation. People feel it can be easier for them to build a stable life and manage finances together rather than doing that alone, while also supporting emotionally as well. And some experts also say that government's housing support and property policies for newlyweds have actually helped create a more positive views of marriage among younger generations. So these days, couples are seeking for good chemistry and also good teamwork as well.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. For many couples today, marriage is less about tradition and more about truly building a life together. And on this site, to close off our discussion today, there may be no better time to hear some hard-earned wisdom from those who have already made that big decision and tied the knot. So what advice would you give to couples preparing for marriage? And do you have advice for how to have a happy marriage, I guess, Luan?
Okay, so like I said earlier, I didn't have a marriage, so I don't know if I can give any advice about the preparation, but from someone who saw other people prepare the marriage, I want to say that even if you fight a lot with your husband or wife, it's only the stress talking. Like it will be fine again during and after the wedding. So for the preparation, what I want to say is to not worry and to just enjoy the process and the day. And for the wedding life, I think that after the marriage and you live together with your husband or wife, a lot of people do not try anymore. And I feel like you still need to try to go on date, to impress each other, to still, get the flame inside your heart. So yeah, I think you need to still try all the day. Yeah.
Well, that sounds like great advice. So, Jihyun, do you have any advice for preparing the wedding, also for marriage itself?
Pretty similar to Luan just mentioned. Yes, of course, you've got to enjoy the wedding itself. You are the main character. I thought, you can be very stressful for the preparation of wedding, but what I thought was I am the main actress of the show, and I've got to wear the dress. And remember that you are on the same team with your husband, your Mr. Right, or your bride as well, and also. Now, during the wedding preparation, you can see the whole new side of your partner, and you should be thankful of that. Just enjoy it because you're lucky enough to discover the new perspective of your partners before marriage. So if you get used to it as well. And so trust me, nobody will remember the table decorations, how much flour you spend money on that, but people remember how they treated each other. So. Just remember that.
Yes, for our couples who are about to get married, just smile.
Smile to be safe. Be nice to each other as well.
That's great advice. So whether it's a grand hotel ballroom ceremony, a quiet photo shoot, or no ceremony at all, today's couples are proving there's no single right way to get married. A wedding may last only a couple hours, but marriage is a lifelong partnership. And in the end, the most important investment is not in the ceremony, but in each other. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time with more stories and discussions. And big thanks to Luan.
Thank you for having me.
For coming in, and also Jihyun.
Delighted to be here.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully today's show will help you tie the knot without getting tied up in debt. We are news generation.